to see the comments better. if
Oh,
you'd
he's
like.
gonna want to see the comments. You know they're gonna get him.
Yeah, I just turned down the signal, so.
All right, well, it's 7 o'clock, and we are live with episode 55.
Is that what it is?
1 year and, well, we missed last week, so 1 year and 4 weeks. Been doing this for 13 months.
Yep.
I don't know, Brett, are you superstitious at all?
No.
Okay. I'll say that's the 13th month we've been doing this, and
So either we're gonna
It's 12, so we all right.
we're gonna either do this survive it or everything gonna come off unhinged tonight. One of the two.
you never know. You never know. We've had technical difficulties along the way before, so
Oh yeah. Well, it's nothing new to us.
don't hang up on Brett.
I'm gonna try not to.
Okay.
I'm just trying to see so I can see the comments because I'm not. I don't have multiple devices tonight.
All right. Let's, Brett, give us a couple seconds when we get everything shared around, and we will get rolling here. So for the guys just joining, we got Brett. I introduced you as the CAT founder, UPS hero, whatever you want to call Mr. Brett Collins. He's been doing this for a long time. Tournament director. Runs the CBCs. Anything else to add to your resume? I guess you're doing the Phantom Invitational tournaments now too.
Yeah, we started that up as a real good company, and we got together on that this year.
Yeah, so why don't you give us a breakdown? I don't think a lot of people realize how many tournaments you're actually involved with, and I know that I helped David run a little small winter trail this year. There's a lot more that goes into it than what the average person sees at the weigh-in. So, tell us about the CAT. How long has the CAT been going on? And what all does that entail? And they got guys that help run it, but you're still the single guy, right?
Yeah, I usually handle most of it, but I will say I've got some of the guys that started helping me over 15, 16 years ago. They're still helping me. So, I mean, I got some really good help, got experienced help. And just like I missed the CBC championship this past year because of COVID, and it didn't miss a beat because the guys I had there, they knew they knew how to do it, so it wasn't a problem. But anyway, I'll say the way the CAT Trail come about was nothing planned. We back in 1997 on Lake Wateree, it was just a group of us. It was actually 12 of us, and we just got together to fish, just like you guys do at Wiley. Just something to do. I just happened to have scales where I was running a little thing every year for a fire department, and some of the guys that were there that day. One of them was Sonny Beam. I don't know if y'all know Sonny, but he fishes with Hank Parker a good bit, and there was quite a other few guys. One was Pat McAteer, who was one of the best fishermen in North Carolina. He had a place at Lake Wateree. But we just got together fishing. I had scales and everything. We just got together every Saturday fishing. There was just 12 of us, and we decided they wanted to do a little light trail. And back then, people don't know it, but a trail on the same lake didn't work at all. The people that tried it, it just didn't work. Well, we didn't care. We were just going to fish. So, in that September, Pat and Sonny, I remember sitting on the picnic table, and there was also a guy at Lake Murray named Robert Hamilton that run tournaments, and I'd go over there to help him, and he showed me a lot. But we sat out there on the picnic table and drew it up, and it was mostly them doing the talking. Let's do this, let's do that, pay a little membership, pay back all the entry fee, and we'll give us a little extra boats and have a good time. Well, the first tournament we had like 32 boats, and it just actually the next lake after it grew, we did it that spring. Pig Jones, y'all remember Pig Jones?
I think everybody from around here has heard that name once or twice.
Yeah, well, Pig Jones and Scott Willis come down to Lake Wateree, and I remember Pig telling me, he said, "Why don't you come up to Wiley and do this?" So went up to Wiley, and that was in '98, and then '99 I went over to Lake Murray, and really hadn't tried to expand it too much till here lately. But we started out like that, and then now we're on I think 24 different lakes in Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina. Well, it's actually more than that because some of the divisions have more than one lake. I'd say it's over 35 lakes, but you have about 35, 36 people that help me and that run a lot of the stuff. And it grew from 12 people to this year. We'll have 270 tournaments in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. And like I said, a lot of that doesn't come through me. I do put up the results and do that kind of stuff. But I've got guys that run those tournaments that I don't have to worry about a thing. You know, I just say, here's the prepaid list, and they take it from there, and they do it. And, you know, we just stick to the rules and be honest with it. And it just grew like it did. And then in 2010, I got with Marshall Marine and Foothills and Skeeter, and we started CBC. And, you know, there was nothing like if you ask me, there's still nothing like the CBC. I mean, there's nothing that can touch it. You know, the way they pour money into it, and it goes back to the fishermen. And all that started, you know, when we got with Foothills. But I went and talked with Marshall Altman that runs Marshall Marine down in Lake City, South Carolina. He fished the South Carolina Team Trail back in the 90s, which I fished that. I was fishing a lot back then. They had 150 boat field, which was capped at 150. And I mean, the waiting list was like 75 boats. And that's how Marshall knew about tournaments, because he had actually fished in them. And that's, you know, we got all this together, and then the CBC took off like it did. So it's just been growing. I mean, this is the biggest year I've ever had. Like I said, it's 270 tournaments planned this year with the Phantoms and the Opens and the Cat Trail and the CBC. There's 9 CBC tournaments. So that's how much is going on.
That's crazy, man. So how long has the cat been going on? You said
Since 97, September 1997.
September of 1997.
Yep.
So over almost 30 years now, right? Or 20?
Yeah,
25?
Yeah, 25 years.
25 years.
Yeah, I met a lot of people, and like I said, I mean, it's crazy. I can go somewhere and I see people I hadn't seen in years that I remember fishing with us years ago, and you know, they doing other things, you know, I'm fishing more, but you meet a lot of people, and you know, it's a lot of work, but it's, you know, it's fun, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe that's actually where I first met you. Was handing you money. We got some comments on here. Daniel Cook, I don't know if you can see him or not. It says, "You're the man." Derek Lilly says he's been donating in them for the last 15 years. So I'm sure.
That's right. I remember Derek him and Eric, when they first come up and started fishing the Cat Trail at Lake Wiley. Daniel was actually like 8 years old and would hang around his uncle's store, and I'd go in there and pick up a rod and flip a jig in a styrofoam cup. And he was just amazed by it. And now here's Daniel going fishing, and he was like 8 years old back then.
You're starting to, you know, you hadn't said how old you are, but you're starting to tell everybody how old you are.
Oh, I'm old. I'm 61. Shoot, I remember when there was 10 fish left. I can remember going down to Santee and weighing in 40 pounds with 10 fish, not even coming in the top 4.
That's crazy.
That was the hydrilla days.
Sabaga's on here. Collins is the best box boy I know.
Yeah, well, I actually delivered to Joey's house. He doesn't have a garden. Don't y'all believe anything about any of that garden stuff. He don't have a garden.
He has a koi pond, though.
He got what?
I said he has a koi pond, though.
Oh, yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. He really does. I remember Joey when he was a little kid over at Lake Murray. I'd go over there and take his money back when I was fishing, too. He just don't want to talk about it.
Well, you still take his money, just in different ways, right?
he still gets it.
He would take my money now. I don't ever get on the lake to fish anymore.
Well, run that many tournaments. I don't see how you'd have time to.
Well, you can't. There's just no way.
The every other weekend deal David and I did, it was pretty much a coin flip. Who was going to hold the money and who was going to weigh the fish that day.
Yeah, it's like I said, I had some good sponsors. You know, you can't beat Skeeter and Marshalls and Foothills, and you know, with Lew's and Strike King, and since they merged, and Phantom Outdoors, they do a lot for the They do a lot for military families and for the law enforcement families, and that's why I wanted to get with them and do some things. And you know, in academy sports, they the easiest people to deal with, and just have some good sponsors. I mean,
Yeah.
good
Yeah,
money for you.
I've benefited from several just out of the money Academy Sports gift cards up here at the Lake Wiley Cats.
No problem.
Uh,
Yeah, they supply me all I want. give away to everybody.
yeah, that's I like Academy. I like them all. They're for the things that you don't have, like shotgun shells.
I'm sitting here thinking like, golly,
You don't sell guns.
no, I don't sell guns. I've thought about it. The market's too tight.
David's done some stuff for us too at Lake Wiley too. I won't leave you
Yep,
out.
he absolutely has.
And you know, and I know that means a lot because David is doing that. I mean, that might be, I don't know if that's sponsorship money or that might be his personal money, but I don't know. But I know he wanted Lake Wiley to do good again, so I know he stepped up and he's doing stuff for everybody.
Yeah, you're doing some stuff this year too, aren't you?
Uh,
Or that
we-
Thursday night deal?
the Thursday night, Brett and I really didn't talk about this year, and I mean, I'm here to help out and do anything I can. I still wish Brett would eliminate the no pro rule. Sorry, Brett,
Now,
I had
hold
to go
on,
there.
We can't start that already.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, there's enough of
just-
them that have come from here.
We're
that
just getting unpacked now.
we're unpacked. The doors are open.
We still got people on here saying how great a person Brett is.
Brett's a great person, and honestly, if it weren't for 2 or 3 other guys, I don't know that there'd be a problem. But I understand Brett's side of it too, and losing boats is not worth gaining 1 or 2.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, as far as when I was fishing, I didn't care either. But you know, there's people that just don't want to fish. They got that mindset. They don't want to fish against a pro. So, you know, the object of the game is to get more boats, not lose boats. So,
No, and then that's right. I understand that. But Chris Marshall, Shane did not put me up to that. Brett Collins can attest to the fact that I've been a proponent for that rule for a long time. Matter of fact, was it last year? No, year before last. I mean, we started out the year that way, and then
And then
it
they had
went,
to win the first one.
and then it went south.
If they just wouldn't have won the first one, it wouldn't have been a big deal.
Oh
well,
yeah.
it's just like the off limits rule. I mean, that off limits rule's been around for years. I mean, like the South Carolina team trail was off limits back in 90, 91, 92, 93, 94.
Right.
So it's been around for a long time.
Michael Coward, I appreciate the comment on the Braves hat. Yep, Baum was definitely out. They even reviewed it and still got it wrong. I don't know if you guys watched the Braves game last night or not.
I heard there was some controversy.
He didn't even touch the plate. If they would have reviewed it, didn't matter if he tagged him or not. Didn't touch the plate, went in the dugout. He's out.
Yeah.
But they ended up losing by 1 run. That was in the top of the 9th inning when that happened.
Oh boy.
But it's all right. That's right. I forgot about this one. Jody Wright, Brett says you ran the Greenbrook Motor Trail as well. I forgot about that one.
I did that for 2 years.
Yep, I forgot about that
2009,
trail.
2010, and that's the same way. You know, Andy can tell you. I talked with Andy Saturday, saw him up at Lake Hartwell. I mean, he's still don't burn bridges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that event at Hartwell, I fished it with Reed McGinn. We finished 36th. Jonathan Carter and Justin Tingen won that with 18:28. And Buddy Black and Tyler Ward had big fish at 671, which I'm going to assume is a largemouth down there.
It was.
Man, that was a fun. You guys hit that right on the head. There were fish doing just about whatever you wanted them to do. I bet Reed and I caught probably, 50 or 60 keepers. It got to the point where, it was so close to gaining a 1/10 of an ounce here and there. We were catching so fast, we just letting them go.
Yeah, a lot of guys said they caught a lot of fish.
Yeah, I mean, it was nuts. We caught them from the time we took off to the time we took out. We just never could catch a big one. I think the biggest one we had was like 348. We had right at 13 pounds. I forget how much it took to get a check. Maybe, I think almost 15, something like that. But man, it was fun. As tough as fishing's been up this area this winter, I needed to get beat down.
It's always fun to just go jerk on
They
them.
bit whatever you wanted to throw too. I mean, it was crazy. We caught them on top water. We caught them on a jig, on a shaky head, on a frog, on a buzz bait. I mean, a crankbait, spinnerbait. I didn't catch it on chatterbait. I went through it a couple times, but I mean, it was nuts. And I don't know that lake real well, so it was real nice to sit in the passenger seat and stand up and read, go, cast there, throw there. There's a rock pile there. There's a brush pile in the back of this dock. It was a lot of fun. All I had to do was cast and set the hook. It was really, really nice.
Hey, Brett, while we're on the tournament thing, real quick question. The Phantom tournament, are there off limits for that?
No, there's no off limits for the Phantom. You don't have to qualify for it.
Okay.
There's no membership or
Pay that
anything,
morning.
right?
And like I said, it's just something we just started. It's not really a trail. It's just, we do the same format at the 2-day championship at Kerr Lake each year. And, there's a lot of guys don't want to ride away up there. So we're doing this format. We're doing it on your home lake. Last week we had 113 boats at
Santee.
Santee. Well, I had a sponsor put up another $5,000, so that made it $10,000. But even without that $10,000, that $5,000 extra dollars, first place was still being right at $9,000. So, it's just the same format. You don't have to go to Curly, and it's just something we're doing. And I've also bought some new equipment, and I can't wait till I can roll it out. It's gonna be awesome.
You gonna roll it out this Saturday?
No, I ain't quite got it ready yet, but it's gonna be nice. It's gonna really put the fishermen out there on display.
Well, you
Yeah.
better talk to your UPS man and hurry up and get it delivered.
Oh no, I already got it. We gotta get it. We gotta get it set up, and like I said, it's gonna be something. We're gonna have a little better weigh-in instead of just weigh the fish and you walk off the stage. We're gonna have something to put the fishermen out there, and in this day and time with Facebook, my theory is if you come up there and you want to weigh fish, we're gonna take a picture. Try to take a picture whether you win or not.
Right.
Because, you might want to look back years from now and say, look here, I caught 15 pounds. Or I caught 18 pounds and didn't get a check, but here's my picture. So
Hey, at the
we're
rate
trying to put the fishermen out there a little more.
the rate Wiley's going 11 pounds is a monster bag. I might need to remember that.
I was gonna say it would be good I wish we had that 10 years ago when you could say it took. I had 18 pounds on Lake Wiley and didn't get a check. People don't believe you if they aren't from around here.
First year I went up to Lake Wiley, 27 pounds won the first tournament.
I'll believe it. When I was a kid,
It was two brothers. I can't remember the name, but they did that more than once.
yeah, when I was a kid, I'll never forget that 6 fish limits. My dad used to fish the Fishers of Men a lot when I was little, and there was a tournament up here. I'm sure you're really familiar with it. Golden Eagle, Handy Pantry,
That's right.
all of them. They had 26 or 27 pounds and with 5, I couldn't catch a 6th one, and they got beat. Some guy had 32 pounds with 6 fish. I'll never forget because there's a picture of me standing on the front of the boat with 2 bass that are about as big as I am. I think I was 6 or 7 years old.
Well, I don't know what's wrong with Wiley, but all I can tell you is back when I was fishing Wiley, there was some cover in the lake.
Yeah.
But now, the last time I was on Wiley, I'd go to them places. That stuff's gone. People dug it up, pulled it up, or moved it, or if it's a stump that's been cut, it's gone.
Yeah, well, I know where the 3 laydowns are left on the lake. So
Well, I can believe it.
those are my, you stay out of them, those are my laydowns.
They used to go in Beaver Creek. Is
Yep.
that right?
Yeah, there used to be a bunch in there.
Oh God, there were stumps all down the right side, but
Yep.
they're probably gone.
Yeah, so we got some comments on here. So Brett, Michael Carson says James Wiley and his brother is who he bets that was on Wiley, 28 pounds.
I can't remember their names, but I know they were popular. Everybody knew them.
Yeah.
And they threw that big rattle trap or spot.
Yep.
That's what they were doing.
Well, apparently that's how it was won this past weekend
Well,
too.
Yeah. See right went out there and found the unicorns.
Yeah. Maybe the big bass are still in there just suspended. Who knows?
Well, I'm not a biologist, but by any means, but there's a lot of talk about a largemouth bass virus going on up at Hickory, and they're a couple years into it, and you look at what we did 5 years ago on Wiley, and
That was stupid that year.
I mean
That was the most fun, frustrating winter I've ever had in my entire life.
there were so many big bags weighed all winter long, even into the spring, and then it's gone downhill, and then this year you can catch a lot of fish, but it's the size is just questionable unless you're sea right or Mike Stevens has caught a couple of good bags, and it seems like Wiley might have a little bit of that going on. Maybe it's on the upswing and will continue to get better.
Remind me, I bumped to the shop boat. Brett, Jerry Craig's asking what's this Saturday. I know it's a Phantom tournament. Give us a rundown. What's the entry? I know the guaranteed payback's based on at least 50 boats. Give us the skinny.
Well, and it's still a good payback even when you have 40. But
Yep.
It's 200, 210 at the ramp. There's 3 side pots, 100, 50, and a 25. You can get in one of them, 2 of them, or none of them, or all of them. And we pay back 3 places in the 100, 3 places in the 50, and 2 places in the 25. And 2 big fish spots. There's 1 in 6. And plus, the other thing too is I am doing a 2-day tournament on Hartwell, November the 5th and 6th. It's 10,000 first place.
And that
And we call it the Phantom Invitational Classic. So,
okay?
but like I said, you don't have to qualify for the Phantom. You don't have to pay a membership. Just show up and fish if you want to fish.
All right.
So total entry fee, 200.
Might as well
plus
say
100,
210. Everybody's gonna pay it. Right?
50, 25, so 375 plus 10s, 385s, and get you in all of it around the total.
That's right.
Okay.
Or 210 on.
Or 210
you don't
if
have
you
to
don't
pay all the
want to
side pots.
go gamble.
If you win though, you're not in the side pot. You're gonna be really upset.
No, but that happened down at Waccamaw River last year.
Derek Lilly, he's on here. He can tell you all about that. Derek's cut himself short a bunch.
So back to the Wiley side. So Ronnie Mueller says the high school tournament took 1184 with only 3 fish, and 1127 was second. So
That's the juniors. That's the junior side. Middle school kids did that, which
that's
is
a pretty
very impressive.
yeah. That's a good 3 fish limit. Chris Carnes caught an 8-pounder this past week. I did bump into the shop boat. I was on vacation this past week. I hung drywall is what I did. Spread a mulch. The stuff you're supposed to do on vacation.
What day did you see a shot boat?
Let's see. We got back Thursday. It was Thursday. That's when I saw the shop boat. And
You saw it in Big Allison?
nope, saw it in Torrance Creek.
Okay.
I felt bad for the guy fishing right behind it. I don't think he realized what was going on. But he didn't catch anything. Go figure. But when they got done, we didn't get out there till late, so I guess they were on their lunch break. I had my kids with me. I had the whole family with me. And my little girl had just thrown a Zebco 33 combo in the water and watched it sink out of sight. I actually bought that from here.
I got more.
All right, well, I need one. But anyways, we went and talked to him, and I asked the guy, I said, hey, man, can you show my kids a big one? Because I can't catch one. And the biggest one he had, it may have been 3 pounds. And they said that the numbers were down, and the mixture of spots to largemouth obviously was starting to be about 50-50. The biggest thing he did have was obviously a catfish, big old nasty channel cat. But,
Were they keeping them, or what were they doing?
So the way I understand it, what the shop does is it basically paralyzes them, and they net them, and then they put them in a holding tank. They measure them, and I guess do a sampling of them, and they let them go.
Okay.
They don't
When they revive.
Yeah, I mean, when they shock them, basically they float up. I mean, they're completely paralyzed.
Yeah.
So, he didn't let on like the lake was in bad shape, but when the shock boat can only catch a 2 3/4 pounder, that's obviously those are the fish that are up shallow now, right? I don't know how deep those things go, but
Definitely seems like the bucks are on the back.
and I thought it was weird. He said that they weren't doing Lake Norman this year, which was interesting because he was in the South Carolina side of Lake Wiley and Lake Norman's in North Carolina. And then he said he was leaving there to go to Kiowee. So I don't know if that's like a third-party contractor they pull in to do that stuff or what. But they said all the results can be found on the DHEC website because I asked about the DNR and he said, no, it's on the DHEC website.
Then they must be checking for mercury and a few other things.
I'm not sure.
Interesting.
I don't know. He called it like a 316A report or something like that. I don't know. We'll have to get our buddy Frazier to explain that stuff to us one day.
Yeah.
But I thought that was interesting. I thought for sure he'd have pulled a 5 or 6 pounder at least.
I honestly think that with them dropping the water, a lot of the females kind of step back a little bit.
Yeah.
And,
Well, you can go out here right now and catch as many 12-inch rats you want on any secondary point there is. I don't know if the water's still dirty after the weekend or not. But
it was still pretty dirty
they're,
Sunday.
the 12-inch spots were knocking slack in a little crankbait on secondary points leading into pockets.
There you go.
Obviously can't win a tournament doing that, but a
No, but for the
3-year-old,
kids, it's
3-year-old
fun.
and a 7-year-old, they don't care as long as something
Mine got to jerk on some with a wacky rig on Friday, so
out here.
yeah, we went from Tennessee back here to Wiley, and we spent our whole spring break fishing. So
And you had a good spring break.
yes,
So Brett, with running all those trails, I assume do you run the website yourself or you farm
Yeah.
that out too? You do all the website?
I do all the cat website. I got one guy that the web guy I got that he changes some things that's a little more complicated, but pictures and the results and the points and the tournament schedules and all that. Yeah, I post all that stuff.
Gotcha.
But, to me that's important to put up, as much as you can and try to put people out there. I mean, people love to show their fish off. They do.
Heck yeah.
If you look at some of the fish that's being caught at Lake Anna and Smith Mountain and the James River, the one I had, I think I had 70 boats at the James River Saturday in Virginia. And I swear, I think he told me 13th place was 16, 17 pounds.
They're stocking F1s up there, right?
I don't know
They
if
are
they
at
are
Smith.
the James River, but
Oh,
at
not the
Smith
James
Mountain
River.
they are.
Smith Mountain.
Yeah, Smith Mountain. Yeah, that's a whole different ball game up there. Evidently, they take it on.
Jerry Craig's mentioned several times Lake James on here.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, a lot of people don't realize it. That, like when I first started this, when I went to Santee Cooper, and I done forgot what year it was, 2003. The lake was down. I mean, the grass was being sprayed. It was hard to catch a fish, believe it or not. And there was like one spring tournament. That was it. There was just one. Now, the biggest problem with tournaments, people come up and they say, why didn't we have a tournament here? Why didn't we have a tournament there? You can't get a permit. I mean, there's some people that get a permit before you, which, that's the way the game works. If they've got the permits, I don't care how big CBC is or how big one of my cat trails or one of my cat tournaments or Phantom or whatever. I don't think I've ever asked anybody to move their date. I know you got a permit, you don't advertise it, can you move? I don't ask them to do that because I just, they're already set.
Right.
We just do, and plus we all talk. Most of the time we can get everything ironed out and everything's kind of done. Sometimes you have a conflict, you can't help it, there's too much going on. So, that's a lot of reason why we don't have tournaments in certain places. It's hard to get permits sometimes.
So when does the planning for the year start? You already started for 2022?
Oh yeah, I've already got some permits, especially up in North Carolina, because you can get permits a year ahead. And I try to be fair about it. If I get a permit and I don't use it, I'll usually call one of the other guys up there I notice running a tournament. And I'll say, look, because when you apply for a permit online with North Carolina Wildlife, it'll just say that ramp is already booked.
Gotcha.
They won't tell you
I'll
who's
tell you
got
who
it.
it is.
So see, if I don't say anything and you want to do your charity tournament that weekend, you're not going to be able to do it. So I usually try to call the guys up there and say, look, I got April 17th, but I'm not going to use it. If you want to do it, I'll call, I'll call DNR and say you're going to take the permit. That's we try to share the permits.
Sure.
All in all, everybody gets along fine. I mean, BFL, all of us talk.
Well, you about have to. I mean, there's a lot of options now, right?
That's right. Yeah. You don't want to step on nobody, and there's so much stuff to fish, and I swear there's so many people fishing now. That's why you can't get a boat.
Yeah.
This year, it looks like everybody's having crowds. Everybody.
Chris Marshall, we're gonna get to that. I'm gonna twist Brett's arm here in a few minutes.
I was gonna say that's Chris. That is yeah.
See, I didn't want you to get them all riled up about the pro rule. We gotta get something out of them first, and then you can get them all fired up.
I'm not gonna. But listen, Brett.
There is a method to this madness.
Yeah, but see, Brett and I go back. Brett and I go back further than that. I actually can call Brett and we can talk and cut up and give each other grief, and at the end of it, nobody's feelings are hurt. You know, we have a good time.
Now, I've had some stuff go on this over the years. They used to hold a grudge about anything. I mean, it's fishing.
That's right.
We have a good time at the lake. Well, it's just like Brandon saw it up there at Lake Hartwell, all cutting up. And what y'all missed out at Lake Hartwell, a tornado come through after all of y'all left, went through Seneca.
Oh boy.
And when all that wind hit, I saw Marty Williams holding onto the tent sliding across the parking lot. Because I was in the trail. But, we just got a short burst.
I mean,
well, Marty wore his sleeveless shirt for a reason. He had flex on holding that tent down. So.
Yeah, the tent was carrying him away. I remember he yelled at him, he said, "Aren't y'all going to help me?"
Let the tent go, Marty.
Yeah,
We can get another one.
Oh, Marty. Marty's been weighing fish for you for what, 5-6 years now?
No, Marty started like just 2 years before the CBC started, so that was like 2009.
Yeah, I can't.
Like I said, and Anthony Williams started like in 2005 up at Lake Norman. I mean, like I said, I've got some that's been with me ever since, like for years.
Jeremy's been doing it forever
I was gonna say Jeremy Cave's got to be one of your oldest going directors.
Well, that's right. Jeremy been doing it for a long time, and some of the other guys I've got just, I mean, like I said, I don't have to worry about a thing.
Jason Land's on here. He's got the Catawba Yakin Trail. He's saying that I guess giving you a shout. He says you're really good with helping new guys with their trails. I guess you've probably given him some help along the way.
Yeah, we talk. I mean, like I said, I've talked with Jason, and Jason's doing his trail the right way. He's having a good time with it.
Yeah.
Everybody loves to pay out and everything.
Yeah.
And we just try to dodge everybody. Because see, fishermen want to fish. Most fishermen want to fish every weekend.
Yeah.
So if you put a tournament the same day at the same lake as another tournament, and then there's not one next week, they don't like that. They notice it. So you try to swap around, not put on the tournament the same day.
Sure.
And me and Jason talk. Yeah.
Well, that's how you get numbers, right? I mean, if you got 4 tournaments on 4 different ramps at the same lake, you're gonna pull.
Yeah,
all the local
guys.
guys.
It's not really a competition thing at all.
Right.
So Brett, how many sponsor dollars would it take to get you to push the Watery Cat final back 2 weeks?
What is it? This is Saturday.
It is. I know.
That might be a problem.
I mean, I was just saying.
I think David wants to fish the Phantom Thing and the Water
I want
Championship.
to make both of them.
Well, see, then we got the lake, everybody's favorite lake, the river, Winyah Bay, coming up the 24th. So it's just not a Saturday off.
No, I know. I tried to talk to him, and they're just fishing Watery this year. But
if fishermen look at everything on the same level, and I'm sure y'all do too, it's just like Lake Wiley right now. It's not taking a whole lot of weight.
Yep.
And every now and then somebody catches a big bag.
Yep.
But it's not taking a lot of weight. Everybody. I mean, you got a good chance.
oh, we finished third with 1160 something this weekend, and I felt like I was way in the weeds on that tournament.
Well, the spring fling down at Santee, it took, I think 20 pounds was 22nd place
Yeah.
down there.
Well, Santee's not like any other place I've ever been to.
Yeah.
There's bass in that place that's never gonna see a lure.
Well,
That's a fact.
What's bad about down there, though, there's a lot of them that only see a lure one time and then they hit the Crisco.
Well, a lot of people come from out of state. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
but But and if you're careful, if you if you go in Talcott Creek, you go in Potato Creek, or you go in Waibu Creek, you can run your boat wide open, and you ain't gonna have a problem.
Yep.
But you just got to be careful when you get out of those markers going up toward Jackson, over at Bells, and that kind of stuff, up toward Santee State Park. You know, I forgot how a boy told me. He said something about if you don't feel comfortable, don't run it. Which that's hard to do because a lot of those guys down there have tore their motors up over the years.
Yeah, well, a lot of those guys, I can get around okay. Once you get behind the islands over there on Utahville all the way down to the canal, I'm pretty, I'll say, confident over there. But as Chris Marshall says, trim up and go. I had some old man tell me, just if you can't see it, it's not there.
That's right.
You hit less when you're wide open because the only thing that's in the water is your prop.
Yeah.
I've hit more idling on that lake than I have any other time. I've been stuck on stumps, but most of that's been in the lower lake. The lower lake's the one that scares me because it's wide open and you'll be running. You look down, you're in 15 foot of water, which is deep down there, and then you look over the side and you're in 8 inches of water.
Well, going back to all the guys that helped me, I don't want to leave some out because I mean.
Yeah, you got
so many of them.
Derek McLeod's on here. He said Brett found me running Thursday night tournaments out of PAX.
Well, that's another one. I don't have to worry about a thing.
Yeah.
Derek runs those tournaments. And
Hang
don't
on
have to worry about a thing. And
Jeff
Hang on a
Douglas.
second. Night tournaments out of PAX Landing. Oh boy.
that's right. That's
You're-
what he was doing.
You ever been on Santee at night?
It's very dark.
It is. It's like being in a
Yeah.
cave. You can't see your hand in front of your face.
Well, I have Jeff Douglas helps me at Murray. He was actually one of the first ones that went with me. He would come get the boat for the CBCs when we first started.
Yeah.
And Michael Smith is doing the Yadkin Trail, and Michael cooks for those guys at the final. Now, I'm talking about stuff he sits up at night and cooks. We got Matt Jennings and his wife at the Tidewater Trail. Carl Hope helps us a lot at Lake Norman. Corey Bynum just started helping us at Lake Gaston. Tim Askew and Lambert Garris, they do the East Trail, which is around Chowan River. Ferris Jennings does the Cooper River. Vincent Blanton does Lake Hartwell. And let's see, Joe Toth does Savannah River.
How about Smith Mountain?
Smith Mountain is done by the Dawson brothers, Joey and Kevin. And I mean, they made that trail go from 10 boats to 55.
Wow.
And Bart Gord does the James River. Will Vickery does Lake Anna. And the Dawson
know where
brothers
that lake
also do
is.
Leesville Lake.
Where's Lake Anna?
It's in Virginia.
Is it?
I've never been there.
It's a small lake, I think.
I've
Yeah, I
never
think
been to
it's.
it. Never even heard of it.
But hey, oh man, they catch some pretty fish. I mean, I had a tournament up there this past weekend, and it was 30-something boats, and they got some pictures. It's pretty bad. But one mention too, Jerry. Y'all know Jeremy does Lake Wiley.
Yep.
And Walkmore Rivers, Chris Jones and Tyler Thompson does Kiowin, Jim Cassie, and Jason Bateman does Monticello. I think that's everybody.
Gotcha.
There's a bunch. Trip Emerson used to do Old North. He's tied up with children playing soccer. Y'all know how that is.
Yep, I came straight from baseball practice tonight. 100% now. We got a
Like I
game
said,
Tuesday.
Steve,
and a game
Steve
Thursday.
Steve Sweetman does the Sparkleberry Swamp Quest. And it's so much stuff. It's hard to keep up with at times. But we do tournaments too, just because people want to fish. Might not have 10 boats, but they want to fish. So
Right.
we do something. Put the picture up on the website.
I think I'm gonna start my little Tuesday trail back up.
Y'all were doing out of Nivens for a
Yeah.
long time, weren't you?
No, not Tuesday night. Tuesday daytime. The
Oh.
retiree and slackers trail.
Yeah.
It turned into the pros versus Joe's trail. I think, matter of fact, Brad, you showed up to fish one or two of them, didn't you?
Oh yeah. They come down here. Yeah, we went around and fished a few of them.
Yeah, we might have to do that again because I always that brings out. I mean, not to take away from the guys that have to work during the week. I don't want to do that, but you get some of the guys that are retired that used to fish hard and don't fool with it on Saturdays anymore, but they'll sneak out there on a Tuesday and get in the mix.
Derek McLeod says the night tournament's on.
I saw that
It's only
3 hours.
3 hours of power from 6 to 9 before it gets completely dark.
Santee in the darkness would be rather suspect.
Ronnie, I'm a Gamecock fan myself. Ronnie Mueller wants to know what you think about them Gamecock baseball team there, Brett. They want to know if you think they're going to make the tournament.
Well, they hitting the ball. And see, I grew up in a time when baseball was bigger than football. And I'm sure when y'all were kids, do you remember playing basketball and there was a team of 5 on the side that played the winners?
Yep.
Well, I can remember playing baseball when I was a kid, and there'd be sometimes 2 teams of 9 waiting on the winners. We
Got
played like
rides.
4 innings.
Hey, and Brett comes from the stickball days. They ain't had
That's
baseball back then. He comes from stickball days.
All right, the
You
community.
know, I played cup ball. Yeah, baseball was always a big thing. I mean,
Did you ever play half ball where the rubber ball was cut in half?
I know.
That's what we played when I was little. I grew
Well,
up
I
in the
actually
community. We had
I played.
same way, nine versus 9.
Well, I played pony league ball, and we had a boy on our team that was a catcher, and he didn't use a glove.
It's
Golly.
because y'all didn't throw hard enough.
I don't know, but he did not use a glove. I remember he sat there and warm up the pitcher, and you hear that smack.
I think I'd rather take it to the chest and try to pull that off.
Oh yeah, well back then it was a little different. Things were crazy. You didn't have much padding on when you was a catcher anyway.
You either catch the ball or ate the ball.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep, I'm missing a tooth because of it.
Wow.
But and going back to some of the other stuff too, I don't want to leave some stuff out. A lot of people push up the catcher. Joey Spog over at Murray.
Yeah.
Joey cuts up and everything, but he makes some nice videos.
Yeah.
And another thing too, as a fisherman, it's just not bass fishing. I know Joey can catch the mess out of some crappie. And some people might not think that's a big deal, but he was catching them before live scope, so I know he can catch crappie.
Before live scope. He had to throw
That's
that
right.
in there.
Live scopes done made that crappie fishing. So I know some people that's quit because it's not fun anymore. Catch too easy.
Joey doesn't even have a live scope
He doesn't.
or 360.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, and Joey and a lot of them guys have been over there at Murray. Murray's a really, really good lake. It's just not what it was when they had grass, but it's still good.
I'd venture to say, based on everybody's comments about grass, DNR needs to leave that stuff alone and let it grow.
God, I'd go down to Santee back in the 90s and I'd carry a flipping stick with 20-pound line and a red rattle trap.
And that's all you would need.
Yep, your arms would hurt because you was ripping it out of that grass. But you go over to Murray when they had high drilling and take a flipping stick with a 20-pound line and throw a deep little end. Blue and chartreuse and rip it through that stuff in January and just catch the mess out of bass. But all that's gone now, so.
Yeah. Yeah, but when I was little, I remember I didn't even know that anything existed north of Bomber Island down there because we didn't have to leave the grass.
No, I tell you, one time in my life I caught over 30 pounds at Murray, and y'all might know what this is. A lot of people don't. Y'all know what I call it a rapala. Some people call it a rapala, but the countdown.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
Absolutely.
It's only like 3.5 inches long, black and silver. We'd go up in that river and throw it through the blow-throughs. And caught 3 7-pounders that day. We had almost 31 pounds. And I ain't never come close to that again, but that was in like 2000. That was in 2000 in April.
There's some big ones down there.
Oh man, that used to be the lure back then though.
Yeah.
I still got it.
Well, they still buy them.
Oh yeah, they eat them up in Lake Wiley.
Yeah.
Back then.
I used to catch them in Lake Norman back when it was a race to the high hole to catch 7 pounds.
Yeah.
You had to figure out which number to count to catch them.
That's right.
That's before my time, boys.
What, the countdown?
I mean, I
can't
know
count-
what
you
it
probably
is.
Can't count that high anyway.
No, I can't. No. 2000, let's see, 2000. I think it's somewhere around 2000. I was starting. No, it would have been a little bit later. Chasing fish in the ocean, much more fun, and they're bigger.
We're supposed to go do that this next weekend for my dad's 60th birthday.
What are you doing? Red fishing?
No,
Going out?
We're supposed to go to the Gulf as long as the weather behaves.
Nice. Oh, you're hitting it right. They're starting to bite.
I heard we're going to try to catch some wahoo.
You might be better off to catch a dolphin right now, though.
Well, we're going to bite. That's
Whatever
the thing about
bites, you're
saltwater.
gonna jump on it.
Whatever makes the reel scream, we're just going to sit down and start lining them in. So,
Well,
Look, Jeff Murray now this is crazy. Jeff Murray just said Stump Rowe. His name was Bobby Rowe. But we called him Stump because he was only like 5'2". But he showed me the countdown. That's funny. Jeff would do that. I was in a club called the Saluda River Bassmasters in 1988, 89, 90, and that's what him and Robert Hamilton were fishing with. And I didn't know what it was, but they called Stump because he was a little guy, but his name was Bobby Rowe. He was in the fire department over Newberry, and but they would go up in that river, and they showed me how to run the Saluda River back then, and the Saluda River, we put out a bunch of fish. You catch 40, 50 fish up there back then.
yeah, that was way before GPS, right?
I wish that we could go back and let people ride in one of those boats with an old V6 150 Johnson GT.
GT. My favorite one was the Mercury Slim, the one that was the Tower of Power. It was real thin and tall.
That's right. Well, by the time you got up in that river with that GT, it made a humming noise. You could hear that humming in your ears for about 10, 20, 30 minutes. It wouldn't go away.
That was a long run then.
Yeah, it's like 20, 25 minutes to get up there where we were going.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody had those kind of Mercuries you're talking about too. And I can remember the day that somebody pulled up at the ramp with a 175, and we thought, man, look at the size of that motor.
And Mercury released a 600 a couple weeks ago.
No, we were like, man, you're not gonna be able to hold that 175 because everybody had 150.
Chris Marshall, that's what I grew up in too. I fished more out of Reed's boat than anything. We called that old Ranger, we called it the War Wagon. That's what it had on it. Was the Mercury Slim. He repowered that thing with a 150 EFI, the old black, and the first electronic fuel injection motor that Mercury made. 79-foot Ranger with a 150 on it's pretty daggone scary.
Yeah. Boy, if anybody back then ever rode in a shadow bass boat, you don't know what being scared is.
you know, there was a boy that fished out here that had a shadow. Oh, what was his name? Fishing Thursday nighters a bunch. Wes, come on, Brett, you'd know him.
I don't know the shadow bass boat.
Oh Lord.
I don't remember his last name. It's Wes something. That son of a gun. That and Alan Shad with his stroker. Those
I
two.
remember Alan Shad. I think the scaredest I was ever was in the 16.5-foot Hydrosport on Santee. That's you don't want to be on that when the wind blows.
No. No,
When the wind blows out of the west and he tries to run the dike to get back to the ramp, you don't want to be on that boat.
I got to tighten everything on the front end of my boat up from going to Santee the other week for a couple hours with my dad.
Yeah.
The wind blew
Yeah.
15 miles an hour, and I took it straight to the face, and I mean, I knocked, I think, everything loose.
What's bad about that place is when it gets going, and you can't. There's only certain ways you can run across the lake, that upper lake. You can't take them. You take them broadside, it blows out of the west.
I've been down there before and had some bad situations.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Gotta be careful out on that place.
Yeah, absolutely. Brett, you've been around the sport for a long time, so Dave and I were talking before we got started tonight. You know, Jason Christie just won the last Elite Series event at the Sabine River out of a 10 boat. And I mentioned to Dave, I said, man, that's 3 of the 4 events this year have been won out of metal rigs. You know, Bill Lone won at Pickwick, and then Jeff Gustafson won Tennessee River out of a Lund, which is that's even more of a
It's a walleye boat.
it's a walleye boat, but it's still aluminum. Brian New won the first event out of a Ranger, your standard fiberglass boat. We're talking about 20, 30 years ago, first 175. You think we're going to see a reset here? I mean, aluminum boats are a lot more affordable than the fiberglass rigs now.
They are. And actually in a place in Chapin called Rappabull. That guy actually wraps most of the Berkeley Pros boats, and he had, I think it was John Cox's boat in there.
Yep.
And I was surprised. I know it was an aluminum boat, but on TV it didn't look that big, but that was a big boat.
Yeah.
And I actually didn't know it was an aluminum boat till he told me whose boat it was.
He runs
But it was
a
a big boat, but of course,
a Crestliner, right?
Yeah.
Crestliner.
Cox runs Crestliner.
Yeah, it was something different, It wasn't like a Ranger or a Triton aluminum boat.
No, it's like
It was
20.
what I thought it would be.
It's like 22 foot long and about 8.5 foot wide. I mean, it's
his boat looks like a dock with the outboard. on the
yeah,
back of it.
that's a true battle wagon.
Well, it looks like more of the guys are going to that sort of thing.
Well, you don't have to worry about running them into a dock and putting big giant scratches on them.
I will say this, not to. Well, I'm not gonna make that comment, but if you have a fiberglass boat, a wrap is worth every penny in investment. I mean, it's a $3,000 protector for your $80,000 rig.
That's right. Well, I will say boat sales, as high as they've ever been the last couple of years, even with COVID.
What's the lead time on a Skeeter right now, Brett? I know you got to know.
I was told it was like 8 weeks.
8 weeks?
That's not bad at all.
But,
That's
I think
shortened a little bit then.
When you look at
it's
getting new,
short, so. And, well, look, here's the deal. It's not so much the boat, it's getting the other stuff, electronics and all that type of stuff.
all the components.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't get that. And but I think they switch over in June and start making the 22 pop. So I'm not sure that is usually at that timeline.
Yeah.
But I know everybody's at capacity. I actually deliver over to Fountain in Newberry sometime, and they wide open. They used to have time to talk to them, but they don't have time to talk to them.
Well, that's probably the biggest growing boat there is. You're starting to see them everywhere. You have Phoenix busted on the scene now. It's like everybody's got a Phoenix or a Skeeter.
Yeah. Well, I know Phoenix is wide open too.
Yeah.
It seems like everybody is.
Oh, it's definitely a market right now. If you can get a boat out there, it'll be bought.
And well, the thing too, the high school trails have really, brought a lot of new people into the fishing world, even though they don't fish because it's parents buying boats for their children.
Thank.
That brings up an interesting topic. When are you gonna jump on the high school bandwagon, Brett?
Oh Lord, I won't. I got so much going on. There's no way. There's no way I can get into it. Trust me, they got plenty to pick from. There's a lot of high school trails now.
Yeah.
There are.
That was,
There are, and parents don't care if their children fishing, so it's a good thing.
that's good for the sport. We got a lot of kids coming.
It is. I think the only problem they have is the parking problem, because unlike basketball or baseball, you go to the basketball game, your grandparents come and all that. Well, when all those people show up at a ramp, they have a hard time finding a place to park.
I never thought about that.
Oh yeah, you got the daddy bringing a boat.
Right.
Maybe the mother shows up with them or comes later, and then you got the grandparents to show up. So you got way more traffic at the ramp than any normal bass tournament. That's the only problem I think they have. Sometimes they got to do it in certain ramps so you got room.
Well, yeah, I heard Buster Boy was a little bit of a cluster this weekend with their 158 boat tournament.
Buster Boy always is though. If the air temperature is above 70 degrees, you're going to have 50 motorcycles.
You know what? I think the only thing that saved them this weekend is the fact that it rained.
Yeah.
From being real bad. You mix in some pleasure boaters at Buster Boyd, and it's a highfalutin weekend for somebody who wants to just come down here and watch people.
Yeah, I think every ramp's getting like that now.
I think I'm going to start up my LLC here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, boat backing service.
Brandon's boat backing.
I've thought
$5 to back it and $5 to park it.
I've thought about that. How much money can we make on a Saturday out here, really and truly?
Boat valet. That's what we
Yeah,
call
but
it.
you know what the
We
problem
set
is
up a
is-
podium.
Duke Energy will find out about it, and they'll shut us down because they're not making over 50% of the money.
Cash only.
No, it'll last for all of 25 minutes.
Wow,
Well,
man.
y'all talking about age. I can remember when I was a kid going to Dutchman Creek, and it was a gravel ramp, and there was a wrecker parked there every Saturday to pull people out when they got stuck.
I bet you that man made his retirement doing that.
It was Smith's truck stop right up the road, and he would sit there every Saturday. And people would get stuck in the gravel. There wasn't a concrete ramp back then. And y'all know y'all don't remember Watery had what do you call the butt bushes all around the lake. They were everywhere. And I don't know, over the years they just disappeared.
So I was gonna say, what happened to them? That would be amazing there.
Well, I don't know, man, but they had them everywhere. And when you come out of Dutchman Creek, when you come up under the bridge, you go out to the main lake, right on your right before you get on the main lake, y'all see that kind of little cliff, and there's a little
Yep.
sand point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, when I was a little kid, I knew the guy that owned that place. He had steps dug in that cliff, and I mean, perfect looking steps, like concrete steps, and you could walk down to the water on those steps. And over the years, they just wore away.
I was gonna say that had to have been 140 years ago because it's
That
slick
was a long
now.
time ago.
that cliff is slick now.
I know.
That lake gets just as busy now. That
I'm gonna
place
tell
is
you something.
nuts down there.
You're not lying. Last year, they had one of those Tuesday trail. We had one of those down there, and Brett. It was a 4-on-4. It was Lee Lucas, Brett Collins,
That's right. I forgot
Travis
Brett
Robinson's,
Fishing, Fireball.
and Fireball, and me and Shane and C. Wright and Hamrick went down there, and I hadn't been down there since the spring, so I was like, okay, my boys love to jump in the boat and go wherever. I let them pick some weekends. They wanted to go down to Watery, so we rode down there, and guess who I ran into in the river? Brett Collins.
Throwing a devil's horse.
We
Oh yeah, that's
we ran into. He said, "What are you doing down here?" I said, "Well, I just came down." He said, "You can't. You mean to tell me you had to come practice for that?" I said, "Well, you're out here too. I mean, come on." Busted.
Brett had to go check on his pet bass though. Is what he was going to check on.
Well, the only thing I disagree with people on, I know Watery's got pressure on it, but it's only one day. We
Yeah.
don't have weekday tournaments.
No.
We don't have Sunday tournaments.
Yeah, you're right.
And you
The
don't have
last
night
tournament-
tournaments. You don't
No,
have
there's
night
no
tournaments.
night tournaments. And this past year, we had our last tournament at the end of November, and then there wasn't another tournament until like February, the middle of February, on that lake. And there might have been a club here and there, but there's
Sure.
I can't understand when people say, "Man, this lake's got so much pressure." No, it don't.
I'm
It
talking
don't
about.
even compare to
No,
other
let me
lakes.
tell you
I'm talking
something. You
about
come to
the-
White, they're
the
fishing
pleasure
tonight.
boat. I'm talking about the pleasure boat traffic.
Well,
There's just a bunch
that's
of
where I
people
was
on that
going.
lake.
I used to be able to go down to Watery, and it would get a little squirrely around the state park just because everybody's down there.
Sure.
Other than that, that lake would be dead. My
You
kids,
know,
we rode dam to dam, and it was boats everywhere.
I might be wrong, but it seems like when some of these lakes started having a hard time was when the white perch.
Brett, that's a very sore subject, and you're right. It is a
Especially
problem.
for the deep guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They killed the deep. I mean, they took over every little deep hole in Watery, and they bite a doggone worm.
Yep.
They bite anything.
Well, and I'm gonna tell you, the Watery, at least at Wiley, the bass will eat the perch. I mean, I've seen them chase perch. I've seen
What's-
them eat perch.
What's
But
bad about now though is a lot of the perch are as big as the bass.
that's yeah. But honestly, Watery is one of those places I've been, and I've not caught perch and bass off the same place at the same time.
No, all deep cranky places I used to know is well, the last year or so they had been perch on. I don't know what's happened then unless the catfish are getting hold to them now.
Well, that's the one thing the perch has done around here is it's made our fisheries really good catfish fisheries. It's hard to say.
Well,
well,
that's right. That's when Watery started having all the big blues.
Yep. Wiley's got them like crazy. I mean, I caught a flathead this past year. I guarantee that sucker had to be 75 pounds.
yeah. Oh, listen, it's that time of year, Rob, and I'm waiting. Rob and I are gonna fish a night tournament. He's gonna hand me the rod because he's tired of fighting catfish on a chatterbait. It's coming. No, you talk about that cranking thing down there, Brett. I enjoy coming down in the fall, and I had a little something to myself down there. Last year, it just never showed up.
No, I don't know. You know, I don't know what's happened. You know, as far as all that the cranking stuff.
I think
Nothing
the
like it used to be.
well, the water levels too. There's nothing stable.
No, it's a foot low now in the fishing pond.
Oh, listen, Wiley was at 98.2 Thursday night,
They suck the
and the fish were pulling up. Everything was starting to get good, and they dropped it a
Water
foot
off.
and a half.
Brett, we're eclipsing the hour mark here, so we want to be respectful of your time. But we got to know, can you give us any details, any hints, anything like that where the CBC championship might be?
Well, I don't know what y'all know. That's just the way it works now.
All right, so here's my
You know,
theorizing.
if I knew all these years, these last 3 years, I'd at least said something to somebody. But I mean, I don't have a
I
clue.
don't know. Some of the fishermen are really secretive. So
No, I don't tell anybody if I know.
So
Like I
let's
said,
see,
I won't know they'll tell me the week of. I'll find out the week of the last qualifier.
the week of the last qualifier, they don't give much time to get them permits you were talking about.
I don't know that the
Well-
permits are on him for this one.
No, it's just a 30-day thing.
Oh, okay.
But
Well, we've narrowed it down. It's got to be South Carolina. They were in North Carolina
Well,
last
that's,
year.
that's what I was gonna say. It's got to be South Carolina because it was Lake Norman last year. You know, Ebenezer just opened up.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
That will happen.
I'm going to listen. Brett and I have had this conversation, and I know if it's Foothills or Marshalls and their core group of guys from this area kind of got shafted on that. I don't know that they'll come back to Wiley.
So if I had to guess, I went to Santee 2 years ago. It's got to be a big lake.
y'all guessed it, it's Lake Monticello.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
Monticello.
I'm glad I'm outside the points. And what we were talking about, you can leave Reed and I separate then on them points. We don't need to
No,
qualify.
if anybody's ever been to Lake Monticello, they know you can see from the dam to the doggone other side. when you
Yeah.
put in.
The only question is can we jump in the par side?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say it's either gonna be on Murray or Hartwell.
Uh,
I've been to Clark Hill before too, man.
Oh man, I make Jeff Murray happy.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, Chris Marshall loves Clark Hill. I think he
Yeah.
weighed in 28 pounds and won.
And that was in December time too.
Yeah,
Sorry, sucker.
yeah.
I doubt it.
It's got to be a big lake. It's
My
gonna be a big lake.
my bet's between Murray, Hartwell, or Santee. That's just realistically odds, or that's what it's going to be.
I tell you what, them people up there at Hartwell, they have put their heart and soul in getting fishermen to come up there.
I'll tell you what, Neil Paul at Visit Anderson's doing a good job of it too.
Reed and I were
And he
talking
was
about that.
there he was there Saturday from the time I got there at 4:15 to the time I left about 7 o'clock.
Which you know what about that guy? He truly has a love for the sport.
That's right.
It's not to him. It doesn't come across as a money thing or a revenue thing. He truly loves bass fishing.
That's right, he does. I mean, the easiest guy in the world to talk to and get things done.
Matter of fact, I think I'm gonna call him. I may try to have him on here one week.
Should do it.
I didn't even think about that. I should do that. Cause
They're Chickamauga. They're doing a lot of the same stuff that Dayton did. I wish they'd start stocking largemouth in there. Be awesome.
well,
I see Mike Langford's on here. We need to get an update from those guys.
yeah, Mike Langford was on here. Mike Stevens, I see you jumped on here. I hope my boat's together. I'm gonna pick it up tomorrow. See if that gets any rise out of him.
All right, Brett. One last question for you. It's always the hot topic on here. I know you've seen us talk about it before. Shane's not here to give his piece, but you know where he stands on it. So explain to us the no pro rule.
Well,
Where'd it come from? and the reasoning behind no pros.
Well, I guess, you know, even back when I was fishing the South Carolina team trail, they didn't have a pro rule there. I mean, they did have a pro rule. You couldn't fish then, back then. And that was in the 90s, early 90s. But I guess just kind of adopted it. And, but I mean, I've seen it be a sore spot in other tournament trails. And I ain't gonna mention the name, but there's one that's gone now. And I was fishing it. And it wasn't me, but there were some people that had some big blowouts about some of the pros showing up and fishing. And like I said, it's just, there's some people that's just not going to fish against a pro. But the other thing too, you know, I know people say, I want to see how I stack up against a pro. Well, I can tell you, y'all remember the Red Fox tournament at Watery? I don't know if y'all remember that tournament.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Well, I fished it all them years. I won it. Me and my brother won it twice. And I come in second or third, I don't know how many times. And Davey Hyde and Scott Martin and I'm sure Todd Alton, all them guys come fishing. And it never entered my mind that I beat them. I mean, I was just happy I won some money. So I didn't care. But there's other guys they're just not going to fish against a pro. That's just the way it is. They got it in their mind that they got a big advantage. And they just don't want to do it. When you have people, the biggest thing about running a tournament trail, you try to stay out of controversy. Well, it causes a little controversy. And I know, well, you know, on the other hand, y'all remember the FLW tour years ago? Anybody could jump in it.
Yep.
Well, the pros had a hissy fit, and they put a stop to that. They said when we go to it, I think it started up at Lake Norman. They said, you know, we travel around fishing this, and we come to these lakes, and the local guy jumps in and wins. So the pros stopped us from fishing too. So it kind of goes both ways.
Sure. Well, I guess your overall goal is to draw boats, right?
That's right. Get as many boats as you can, and especially now. I mean, people going to fish everything, and there's plenty for them to fish.
Yeah. Well, I understand both sides. All right. I've always been on the fence on it.
Well, I do too. I mean, it ain't that I don't like pros.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. You know, I just come to that spot where you got some people that's, you know, not going to fish.
Right.
Just not going to fish.
Yeah. Me personally, I don't think I've ever given my opinion on here. I don't really mind who's in it. You know, I'm not. You know, you fish enough of these things, you're not really fishing against anybody. You're fishing against the biggest bag you can catch. And if,
That's right.
and if
You're fishing agast the fish.
if you
Well,
catch
that's right.
if you catch the biggest bag, regardless of what it is, you're going to win. Doesn't matter who's there.
Listen,
The craziest thing was one of the years we won the Red Fox. The year before, I remember I was at Dutchman Creek, and it was like 2:30, and Davey Hyde come by me throwing a buzzbait, and I saw him catch a fish, and him and Scott Martin was his brother-in-law. It's not Scott Martin, the pro, but Scott Martin was a pro, but his brother-in-law from Prosperity. But I saw him catching that fish on that buzzbait at 2:30, and they won that tournament. Next year, you know what we did?
Throwing a buzzbait.
Threw a buzzbait the whole day. It was always in May, so you know it was a good time for him.
Sure, absolutely.
I'll tell you another quick story about Davey. I was fishing the South Carolina team trail, was at P&L Landing, and this was when Davey Hyde and Scott had found out about that grass, and a lot of people didn't know about it. They knew it was there, but they didn't know how to fish it. And I was standing behind Scott Martin, and Davey was in front of him. Davey went to put his bag of fish in the, it was a 10 fish limit. He put his bag of fish in the sink. Scott went up there to dump his, and the guy said, "Oh, buddy, we don't weigh two people's fish at the same time." He said, "I weigh him." And they had 10 fish that weighed like 58 pounds, had 11 pounds, 10 pounders or something.
They wouldn't fit in a single bag.
No, they wouldn't fit in a single bag, but they had figured out that hydrillin before everybody else had. You know.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah, they were something else.
And there's been a lot of really good ones that come from the Carolinas. A lot of legends of the sport, for sure.
a lot of them grown up fishing the cats.
Well, that's right. Brian Thrift was fishing when they were just a little kid. I mean, I got pictures of Brian and Andy Montgomery. I don't know how old they were. I don't know if they were 19, 20. They wasn't too old. I don't even know if they were that old. And
Yeah, you shared one not too long ago.
Yeah,
Over
it was
here
a
off Buster
Wiley
Boy.
from like
Yeah.
'98.
Yeah.
I wonder how old Brian Thrift was then.
He was standing there in just a plain white T-shirt.
That's right. Well, I'll tell you another thing was I was in a boat with Anthony Gagliardi the first time he won an FLW event, which was the first year there was a BFL, and it was out here at Waterbury.
Yeah.
I just happened to win as a no-boater that year and drew him out. I didn't know him. He pulled up in the yard with a white truck, he picked me up at my house, in a white Ranger, and he had on a white T-shirt with a Clemson Tiger paw on it, Clemson hat. If you can go back and see the picture, that's what he's got the picture in. That was the first BFL or first FLW tournament he won.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But I remember he told me that day he had just graduated from Clemson, and he said, I want to make pro fishing. He had been at the Beaver, whatever, in Arkansas.
Beaver Lake. Beaver Lake.
He'd been out there and got back, come back, and he's fishing the bigger FLW stuff.
Yeah, Derek Cloud put on here too. Bradford Beefers and Patrick Walters are cat guys too.
Yeah, all them were fishing. But let me tell you, back then, though, there were some fishermen from North Carolina like Larry Pearson. And some Larry Pearson, I don't know how many doggone red man tournaments he won.
Sure.
But he'd come down here and it just all came. Mike Seawright was younger back then and burying everybody's butt out. And I mean, there's a lot of good, a lot of good fishermen.
Can't forget Cliff.
Huh?
Can't forget Cliff.
Oh no, yeah, I know.
I'm gonna tell you one. I'm gonna tell you one. Neither one of you mentions Ted Mobley,
Yep.
Oh, yeah, Ted.
Basil Stowe.
Basil Stowe.
Yeah, Ted. The 2 years in a row we come in second in that Red Fox was a 10 fish limit. We had 42 pounds, and he had 43 pounds both years. Had more than that one year.
We get the privilege of seeing Ted about twice a week here in the store, and it's always fun to talk about the used to be's and has-beens.
Them fish were just dumb back then. They'd bite stuff without fluorocarbon, and they didn't have live scope.
No, Brett Collins had a mason line with an egg weight, feeling around for the depth.
I saw Ted on Water Reef doing something I couldn't never figure out what it was, but he was throwing a big spoon. I didn't know what he was doing.
Yep. Man, I wish I was one of those originators. One of the guys that got to plunder it first.
Big floater spoon.
Any of them. I mean, you just got to think about it. They just knew they were going to catch them.
Hey man, you could be the next 3-pound test Ned rigger.
No, I'm out.
Why not?
I'll lose. I'm out. I'm good. Jody Wright wants to know, is Andy Owens still the all-time money leader in the
I was
cat?
going to ask you that, who the cat all-time leader
he
is.
still is.
What's he doing these days? You ever hear from him?
Well, he's still fishing. I talked to him today. He was fishing. He's been going catching shell crackers and crappie, but he just he lives right down the street from his mother, and he's just doing things for her. That's just that's what he's doing right now. But I can tell you, I fished with Andy for probably 7 or 8 years. The biggest thing about Andy is he could cast. He could pull up to a dock and the fish were on that first post, and y'all know what that's like when they're on the first post.
Yep.
I'm sure if you hit the post, you spook them. Well, Andy, all day long, he might brush one of those posts one time, and he just didn't. I took him over to Lake Murray when they were schooling. He was throwing a spook like a G. He'd throw it about 3 foot off the top of the water when he was skipping it. But I mean, he was just so good at casting, and I really believe Andy caught a lot of fish by doing that because he didn't spook them.
Yeah.
He'd make the jig fall that light.
That's saying a lot. That back
that
in
is.
those days, a 6-foot rod was a long rod.
That's right. I'm serious. He was something. He was something with a jig. I'd never seen anything like the way he could catch a fish. He'd catch fish behind people.
Yep.
But he'd always hang a big fish, and he'd hit the trolling motor and head out. And I asked him one day, I said, why did you turn the boat out toward the main lake. He said, I'm taking them out to deep water so I can drown them. Well, okay. He caught some big fish when I was in the boat with him doing what he was doing.
That's hard to argue with that, then, isn't it?
That's right. I just think that's why he caught so many fish. Everybody was fishing a jig. He
Right.
just knew how to fish it a little better.
That's all it takes is being just a little bit better than the next guy.
I mean, Brett said it best on here. He said he had 42 pounds. He got beat by 43. I mean,
Hey,
Yeah. Back then, it was common to catch 10 fish like that at times at water, especially in the summertime when there's on big crankbait. You can't do that anymore.
once in a blue moon,
not
I will
10
say-
of them.
not 10 of them. No.
I will say back in April of 95, me and Steve Phillips weighed in 10 and weighed 50 and a half at Watery.
And Steve Phillips is another deep water guru down there.
That's right. Yep.
I will say, listen, Watery by far has been the biggest crankbait fish I've ever caught.
Oh, yeah.
7-9.
Well, back in the 90s, it wasn't nothing to catch 40 in a day on a crankbait.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't catch maybe 1 4-pound, 1 5-pounder, but then all that started changing. It just started catching 3s and 4s. That was the old po-bait days.
Yeah, I remember about 5 years ago, Clearwater still had about 25 or 30 of them hanging on the wall.
Oh, man. You can tell the old ones, too. They got a lead center.
That and the package was about to fall apart. I called a buddy of mine who was going down. He's got a hunt club right there on the backside of Beaver Creek. And I said, when you get out of the woods chasing the birds, go pick up all them pose baits from Clearwater.
Yeah.
And he went in there and he bought every last one of them for me. I still got a box of pose.
Oh, yeah. I still got some of the old ones I've had, but I got some of the new ones, too. But I can remember when the Shad Rap first come out, there was a guy at Lake Murray in the store. He would rent you one for $25. You leave your driver's license.
I heard this story not too long
Hang
ago.
on, rent a shad wrap for $25.
Yep.
Yep, that's right. They were hard to come by, and you give them $25 in your driver's license, so you would cut it back. And I'm sure some people kept the Shad Rap, just gave them $25 for it, but yeah, you rent it from it. I'm sure there was some other kind of price thing. I mean, maybe he charged you $50 if you didn't bring it back. I can't remember.
God,
But yeah, you would rent it. It was black. The first Shad Rack was black and silver. And it was a number 7. There was no number 5s. It wasn't number 8 or 9 or nothing. There was no other colors, no crawdad.
I
$25
think-
to leave your license.
I think I'm gonna start a new thing this week. Come to Rusty Hooks and rent a Milo for $25 in your driver's license. If it comes back, you get your money back. If it doesn't, well, you gotta pay $50. That's it.
Suckers. You're gonna make a lot of money because they ain't coming back.
I know. I know.
Yeah, the first pack of Gamakatsu hooks, I remember were at Clearwater, and everybody said, man, we'll never pay that much for a hook.
Now they won't buy it if it's not Gamakatsu.
Well, then we learned that you don't lose fish with those things or some of the other sharp hooks. But,
Yeah.
we started buying them then.
Now listen, Jody Wright, Catcher Lures. I'm the only one that's got a 5/0 Gamakatsu hook. Yellow card jigs. There's a reason for it.
Yeah, that's right. Doggone hooks or something else. We thought eagle claw hooks or something till we got those.
Now listen, Chris Marshall's on here and he still fishes with those antiques.
Shoot, that double barred eagle claw hook that came out. You get hook fish on that, it ain't gonna live.
No, it's dead.
The first year they come out with a frog, any kind of frog. Me and Andy Owens was down at Santee Cooper, and Andy pulled one out, and it was a Bobby's Perfect frog. It wasn't a popping frog. And he said, "You ever fished one of these?" And I told him, I said, "No." I said, "But I got some, but I've never fished with them." And Andy threw that thing up beside a tree, and he was popping it so hard you could see the white belly of it. It wasn't going side to side, and a big fish boiled on it. And that day, I think we weighed in 5 that weighed 28 pounds. They were doing some kind of study, so we kept 10 because they wanted extra fish to take samples.
Right.
So it was like 44 pounds with 10. I didn't catch a one of them.
Got
I
them
didn't
on
catch
frog.
the first one. And he caught every one of them
Hmm.
on that frog. And I was throwing it, but I wasn't catching nothing but the little dinks. But he was catching the big fish.
Probably had sucker on mono too, didn't he?
Probably did. I'm sure we didn't have braid.
Yeah.
We just got. I had some. He had some.
If you had braid back then, it's probably flat braid too. That stuff
That's
was
right.
terrible.
Yeah, I'm sure we didn't have braid. We thought P-line was the stuff back then. That's what we were using.
The whole CXX.
Yeah, that's right.
the gold color.
Yeah.
Copalmer.
We thought we were hot stuff.
Man. Hey, there's still some guys that swear by it. I think Thomas Richmond, I think that's all he throws a spinnerbait on is that CXX.
That and Iserline. There's a lot. There's a big
Iserlines,
following for Iserline
yep.
too.
Yeah, I still use Iserline when I get the fish.
That don't make your devil horse sink?
Nope.
How many devil's horses do you have?
Oh God. I bet you I got 40 of them. I mean, man, over at Lake Murray and Watery, I can remember throwing it on the spinning reel. Throw it up to a point in April and just pull it. It didn't really jerk it. And they kill that thing. I still got them. I mean, I got them that I had back in the 90s because you don't lose much stuff like that.
Listen, don't let this fool lie to you. Every time he shows up to the lake after about March, he's got one tied on.
Who, Brett?
Yes.
I know he does. He
Yeah, I still
he
throw 'em.
doesn't try to hide it either.
No, he does.
He gives you a rundown. He puts everything he throws a picture up on the front deck.
No, I tell you, Brett will be honest with you.
I'd say 4 or 5 years ago, I caught one almost 7 pounds at Water Reel. And I tell you what, old Bangalore is still the thing too. People just don't throw it.
Brett, stop talking.
David, we're supposed to help people.
I'm just saying, stop talking. They heard all they needed to hear.
Ask if we could bump your volume up. I don't know where we just got them on the phone, so. Shoot, I had a question for you. I forgot what it was. Oh, when are you going to do the next Grandpa and Addie show?
I don't know, that child's just started doing the volleyball thing now. The team she's got on evidently they're good. I went and watched them 3 or 4 times. They've won almost every tournament they've been in except for one. And I had no idea when you play volleyball, you go to Tennessee, you go to Florida, and all that.
That's all that travel ball stuff.
Yeah. So that's what she's doing now.
I can still see
wants to go.
I can still see the look on her face when she lost that big fish on the seawall on a buzzbait last year.
You know what's funny? When I fished with Andy, when Andy hooked a big fish, he'd go, "Yes, sir." And I've never said that or nothing. But if you watch that video, when she hooked that big fish, she said, "Yes, sir." And I was like, "That's something." Because Andy would always say that. So I guess I don't know where she picked that up from. That was hilarious. But yeah, she loves old buzzbait.
Yeah, I watched that morning. You got her up on that seawall, and you're telling, all right, now throw over there, throw again, and it blew up on it. She got about 4 cranks on it, and it jumped and came off. And when she turned around, how big her eyes were and her mouth hanging up, and I'll never forget that look because we've all been there.
That's right. And, something I've always noticed on any lake. I don't know if y'all notice, but when people hang up a birdhouse at the edge of the water, there seems to always be a fish around it.
Yeah.
I guess where stuff's falling in the water, there's always a bass around a birdhouse. But there's birdhouses all down that bank. Just a place we fished for years. But yeah, she loves it.
Round Man's on here now and says you need to hush or start talking about Monticello.
I was just getting ready to go there with that one. Goodness gracious. Get him, Round.
David started fishing. He's probably about 12 when he started fishing with us. He's probably about 60 now. I don't know. He's been out there for a while. It's still got so bad. Butch has to help him in and out of the boat. He's got like that.
Oh, now everybody's getting picking on you, saying you're freaking out.
I mean, I'm over here just like, come on, Brett, keep talking. Let's just give it all to them
We
tonight.
got more votes for keep talking.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something else that y'all would not believe. Y'all fish. Have y'all ever found some fish by mistake?
Absolutely.
All the time. I'm not good at it.
David Ethers knows about this because they try to get Addie to tell them. But when she was probably 5 years old, I went in the back of a cut for her to swim. And she jumped out of the boat and was swimming. It was only like 3 foot deep. Well, I knew there was a tree in the water. It's been there for years. And I threw a jig up there and I caught a fish about 4 pounds. This is in June. And to this day, off that one log, me and Andy weighed in almost 20 pounds off that log in July. And it's in 4 foot of water. If you get hung and go up there, you can see the bottom. And don't ask me why the fish are there. But, I mean, that's just one of the weird spots. And, I mean, we won a lot of money off that stupid log.
Sounds like we need to go find some more swimming holes.
Yeah, just carrying her swimming. And I will say it's a spot David has fished for years. He just don't fish it right. Don't get it.
Uh-oh.
No, well,
He just said on here, he goes, I ain't decrepit nor old as Brett.
We got to cut the tournament short so David can get back to the nursing home.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Oh,
Now-
you better be careful. He's going to send Butch down there. Butch is bigger than you.
Nah, Butch has got bad knees. He ain't no threat anymore either.
You know, a lot of these guys don't know it, but you know, when I'm taking pictures, just like when they drop fish, you know, I got pictures y'all wouldn't believe. I got David Butch pin over, the rear ends up in the air and everything. I just don't put them on the website. But I have to start publishing those pictures.
Oh, man. I bet you do have some good blackmail pictures.
Oh, I do.
Let me tell you something. Down there with that group, anything goes.
Well, us fishermen might not. Don't look at the point. Don't matter. Look at the points list. Oh, it's hard to argue with that. It is hard to argue with that.
Yeah. I've taught that boy a lot.
Oh,
Listen, the
man.
only thing this party's missing is Dean Benfield.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
It's getting deep in here.
I mean,
You got any good players in here?
nah, I'm fresh out.
I ain't gonna mention the name, but there's a guy at Watery I've seen go from boat to boat. And I always wondered what he was doing. And he come over to me and Andy one day and he stopped. I said, what are you doing? He's going asking everybody what to catch a fish on? He said, nah, man, you got a can of potted meat. So to this day, he'll still ask you if you got some potted meat because that's what he wants to eat. We got some characters down there at Watery.
Well, you
Dave,
talking about
Round
pie,
man, that's terrible. That is terrible. Brett, can you see these comments?
I didn't say that was David now.
No,
David
no,
just
no.
said he hears you.
He's an armor man. His boat was wrapped with armor when you. So.
Well, David Effers must have a watch party going on.
No,
wherever
that's
he is.
he's shooting at it, Benfield. He knows he's
Oh.
not on here, but he can hear us.
Gotcha.
That's a reference to his ears.
Well,
Ben,
you know, over the years, we've had so much fun at Watery cutting up. There's a boy down there named Ray Dowie, and Ray is always cutting up. And he did something years ago that to this day I still hear something every now and then. But he didn't have any fish. He sat down at the edge of the water, and everybody that come in that spring tournament dropped their fish in the water. He took the biggest fish he could. So we had weighed all the fish, and he had told me what he was going to do. Well, the tournament was over with, and we were up there about to write checks, and he walked up and he said, man, I messed up. I thought the weigh-in was at 3:30. So I'm late. But can I weigh my bag anyway? So he weighed some 5 fish, and he weighed like 36 pounds. And I just told him, I looked at him and said, man, I'm sorry, you disqualified. He just drug the fish down to the lake like all broken-hearted. And for 2 weeks, all I heard about was the guy that weighed in late, 36 pounds.
God, could you imagine if Facebook existed then?
oh my
Oh,
word.
God, it went crazy. That was Ray just cutting up. Just being a nut.
No, I always enjoy coming down there. I only get to come down once or twice a year, but Watery, you can go down there, and whether you win or whether you suck, everybody's laughing and having a good time.
Well, you know, Jason Quinn comes down there all the time now and Fletcher, some of them boys, they hang around after the weigh-in, and I tell you some of the stories.
Oh boy.
Well, that's one of the best cheeseburgers you can get down there at Clearwater. I don't care what you say. It'll
No.
put you to sleep in a hurry on the ride home.
Yeah, try eating one and driving the rest of the way home.
Last time I had one of those, I was sitting in the truck waiting for someone to get towed in.
Yeah, you did, didn't you? Yep, that was CBC last fall. Let's not talk about it.
Oh man.
Listen, I was down there 2-3 weeks ago. Brett wasn't. Brett, where were you?
There's no telling.
You
I
were,
ain't been where we at this year.
Tear something up?
no, I started out the morning and I put the boat in the water and looked at the water temp. I said, I'm gonna get slick on these guys. Everybody blasted off, and I just flipped trolling motor in the water. Well, I had 3 buzzbait blow-ups. Caught one that was about 5.5 pounds, and I'm like, okay, I'm onto something. I ended up proceeding to lose every fish that blew up on my buzzbait for the next hour. And I looked at Tim and I'm like, I got nothing for this. I've never seen it in my life. Never missed so many fish on a buzzbait. Come back in and Jim Davis had 21, Jason had 19, and they're all like, you know, what are you weighing in? Nothing. Throw them back. I got nothing for you.
So Brett, Jason Lamb wants to know when the next tournament is at Watery. I know you got the, I think you got the Cat Championship this Saturday. You got to start back up after that, or?
I know I got a Phantom at Watery May the 8th, which, the top water stuff ought to be real good.
Is that May the 8th at Watery?
May the 8th at Watery, and there's an open April the 24th, just an open.
April the 24th. Jason Lamb, there you go. There,
When's your?
circle your
Are you
calendar.
starting a summer trail down there again, or are you waiting to see what they do with the water?
Well, see, they told me they were going to start on Clearwater's ramps the 1st of February. They hadn't started yet, so I don't know what they're going to do. I don't think they'll do anything in the summer because they don't want to disrupt the pleasure boaters.
There's a-
summer thing.
There's a rumor they're dropping Watery like 15 feet or something.
Oh, it's going to be all, yeah, they're going to drop it down to like 93.
Shoo, boy.
They were
That's
supposed to
for
do that.
like 18 months.
They were supposed to do that this past winter, weren't they? We got too much rain.
Yeah, and then well, I said they're supposed to fix the ramps, but you know they're building a new ramp across the way. I don't know what it's
I
going to be like.
Is that what that is over there? A new ramp?
Yeah, they're building a new ramp. It's more like a little picnic recreational park.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how much parking's going to be there. But even with the water going down, you're going to still be able to put in at Watery Creek and at Taylor Creek and Dutchman Creek for sure.
That's where I always put in.
Are you now? You may not be able to say, but a couple of them boys said that you weren't having cats. Are you still going to try to run the cats, or what are you?
You know, kind of torn about it because you know when they dropped the water at Lake Murray, the fishing was awesome.
Yeah.
But
that
I
year.
don't, as long as I've been on Watery, I don't know if I can run it without hitting something when it's 93. You know.
The way High Rock was that year when they had that crazy drought. Anything that was in the water, it was a 6-pounder beside it. It was nuts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, if you can get out there and fish, you're probably gonna catch a lot of fish.
Yeah.
Probably gonna learn a lot of stuff too.
Well, it's
Well,
like
that's-
playing hide and go seek in a smaller house.
That's-
Less places to hide.
That's kind of why I was asking. I'm gonna come down there with a fresh Waypoint card and make me some new ones.
Well,
My card needs a little updating, you know.
yeah.
Brett,
You'll be able to find something.
Brett, so Jeff Murray says something about a helicopter at Blast Off Water. You got to tell us that story. I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, we had a helicopter at the CDC championship there.
Yeah,
Lake Watery.
I
They
didn't
did.
know that.
Were you not there for that?
Nope, I wasn't there for that one.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. Blasting
Oh,
off
yeah, he
and
was chasing the boats. It was awesome. Yeah, you're running all kind of things people do. They come out there with a helicopter chasing everybody.
That's wild.
That was the same year we had a F-18 fly through the parking lot about 400 foot off the ground.
Dang.
I didn't have nothing to do with that. It scared us.
I
Everybody
bet it
jumped.
did. Was that
Yeah.
down at Murray?
No, that was at Watery.
Watery?
listen, I've been buzzed at Watery almost more times than I've been buzzed anywhere else.
Yeah.
I don't go down there enough. That's too close to the house for me not to go.
It really is, and what's sad is we'd rather fish around here because it's easier.
I don't want to fish around here. Period. I've had enough of these lakes.
Yeah, I'm getting
Well,
there
like I
too.
said, fishing is a lot of fun. And I tell you what, one thing I've noticed about fishing, and I don't care who you are. I mean, there's fishermen that's got different attitudes, different personalities. I've noticed over the years when we go somewhere, if there's a benefit off to the side or something like that, fishermen always chip in and help me.
Yep.
So, that's one thing about I don't care. Like I said, I don't care if you're the nicest fisherman or you're the roughest acting fisherman. All of them jump in and help people, and they've always been like that. And I just think it's an attitude a lot of them have. And y'all know yourself. Most people that fish all the time, they're good people.
Yep. Yeah, I remember my dad used to tell me all the time when I was little, he likes to hunt fish. It can't be that bad.
Well, that's right.
There you go.
I know. Most of the fishing is something where I see somebody for 30 minutes in the morning, and I see them for another 30, 40 minutes in the afternoon. And over the years, you learn everything about them because they sit around and talk a little bit and just get to know everybody.
Sure. Well, Brett, we're going to start wrapping this up. David's got a couple baits here you can get from. We appreciate you coming on with us tonight. We've already been on here an hour and a half. If you can't believe that.
Oh yeah, what about that?
Time goes fast when you're telling good stories.
That's right.
That's right.
I don't know if you do much of this, but David's got some. I'm not gonna call them a Cinco, but it's a stick style bait here. Big baits. What do big baits called?
Big
Trick
bite.
stick.
It's the trick stick.
And I said big baits, big bite baits, and then the pocket rockets by Reaction Innovation. You do much wacky rigging, Brett?
I don't wacky rig that much, but I actually in the summer I like to put a 3/16 ounce, a 5/16 ounce giggy head on one of those things and drag it on the bottom.
A what head?
Slider head.
Oh.
Well, it's it made by Gambler? They call it a giggy head.
Yeah.
It's just a
Just a peg. It's
it's
just
shaky head
yeah.
I got you.
with a big hook. Yeah, I do that a lot in the summer.
So a lot of fish are coming up right now. So David's got a wacky rig tool here. A lot of times the fish come up real shallow, get around the bed, they get in a weird funk and they won't bite nothing.
They will bite this.
They will bite that. If you have the patience to let it sink, they will bite it. So basically all you do, David's got, it's called crossover pliers.
It's the new BMC
New
crossover.
BMC crossover pliers. So basically you put a harness around the middle of your bait. So, basically a
Rubber band.
rubber band is what it is. It keeps your hook out of your bait from balling up, and it actually lets you catch more than one fish off of a plastic stick bait before it disappears. Just hook it in the middle and throw it around the docks and let it sink. There's not much else to it. If you got young kids, take them to Lake Norman right now, and you probably catch 50 or 60 a day. I mean, it's nuts up there. You might not catch any big ones, but at the same time, you might look up and catch a really big one. Right now is a great time to get your kids fishing, and I know my son wants to go outside of baseball. He asks about the worm bite, as he calls it, because all you got to do, if it hits the water up shallow, there's a chance you'll catch one on it. It's a real easy thing to do.
It is. And all of this can be found here at Rusty Hooks Tackle
RustyHooksTackle.com, right?
or at the store.
Or at the store.
So,
You got a favorite color in that?
honestly, I don't throw it as much as I should.
I'm just a green pumpkin guy when it comes to
Green pumpkin, watermelon red. There's a few other colors that I might get murdered if I mention.
that. Gotcha.
We'll just keep under wraps for now.
That's one of the most versatile baits that there is. Brett talked about putting on a shaky head. I know guys at Carolina rig it.
And it's and even fishing a wacky rig can be a year-round thing.
Well, it won in Florida. It won the Elite Series event in Florida.
Yep.
Pegged. Texas rig pegged. So just flipping it to pad stems.
Yep.
It's just a big, do-nothing worm.
Yeah. All right.
They bite it.
We gonna wrap this thing up tonight?
Yeah, Brett, we appreciate you hanging out with us all night tonight.
No problem.
Come on, talk about the cat. If you guys are available this weekend, come down to Lake Wiley, fish the Phantom deal. Brett, you gonna be here Saturday? You gonna be at Water?
Yeah, I plan to be there at the weigh-in and everything at Wiley.
Okay.
All right.
So Brett will be here. Hopefully he'll have his new equipment maybe.
It won't be long. Y'all gonna love it.
All right. And
Oh,
Brett,
yeah,
what's your how people get a hold of you social media? I know most of the local guys know you here, but this gets published on 27 different podcast players. So
How to get hold of me?
yeah, it's a cat. What's your website? Cattrail.com.
Well, it's Cat Trail. It's catteamtrail.com.
Okay, and that's with
And,
that's with 2 T's, right? Carolina Angler Team Trail is what that stands for.
yeah. Well, it's actually 3 T's. Cat Team Trail.
It's
Okay.
CATTTEAM
Gotcha.
trail.com.
Cat with
Yeah.
2 T's and then Team Trail. Got it.
That's right. Then, if you look on Facebook and look at our cat Facebook page, all that upcoming weekend's tournaments are at the top of the page.
Okay. Yeah, we tagged your page when we shared your post tonight. So
And
if you guys are listening to us, if you go find our post, if you click on the cat tag, it'll take you straight to what Brett's talking about.
And if you want to register for the Phantom Tournament, we are taking registration here at Rusty Hooks. And Brett, there is a link to pre-register on the cat website as well, correct?
That's right. Yep. All I gotta do is tap on division, and you'll see the Phantom series.
That's out of Buster Boy.
It is. It is out of Lush Boy.
That'll be a fun tournament. I actually might catch some fish this weekend. The weather holds out.
It's supposed to be a nice weekend for it. So, all right. Well, Rusty Hooks Live, where our hooks may be rusty, but our points are always sharp. Thank you, Brett. Thank you,
All right.
Brandon.
Yep.
What do we do? We can sign this thing out.
Yeah, thanks guys for hanging out with us.
All right. Have a good time.
Yeah, thanks Brett.
All right.
Y'all have a good evening.